We got
Great.
live here. It's Sam and Ryder. We can do some Elixir pairing. Woo!
Woo!
There's this thing from, you know, when I first sort of really encountered pairing like 5 years ago, is I wanted to capture the moment of stuff getting done, and I was talking to other people in like Pivotal or whatever, and I was saying like, and it was so difficult to get access to like videos of other people doing it. Do you know what I mean?
It's not really done.
Right. Not absolutely. Not so much. And I mean, there's more things. There's this like EDU live thing now, but that's like all people working by themselves and then just commenting on it and kind of.
It's not the same.
Yeah, indeed. Anyway,
when someone can do that well, it's very impressive, and it's not the same.
Yes. There are values to all of these things, but there's a yes. Well, let's. And of course, my danger is, of course, that I will just keep on talking indefinitely and not actually do any coding. So let's get down to coding. Did you have?
That'd be okay. I mean, as long as like 15 minutes at least is coding, right?
Yeah, indeed. But so, did you have an idea of like? I think we were almost actually at the end of the last session. We were talking about what the next step would be, weren't we?
Yeah. So I've done.
Go on.
Yes. I've done a little bit of work on this since the last time we looked at it together.
Oh yeah.
Sam. So you can pull down some fresh code.
Yeah, let's do that.
And I can show you what I've done.
Excellent. Let's get that in here, I think. Oh, I'm on that Raptors. I'll probably get on master. Okay. Yes. Right. Okay. So yes. Where should I be looking for the new code?
Yeah, so I added a test, I want to say, in gmylm.initializeGame. Somewhere further down. Yeah. Okay, so this is not the test that I thought it would be, but this is okay, right? This basically is just going on the new.
I'm just gonna pull out and run the. Oh, I was hoping that I'm going to run the test in the background.
Yeah, let's run the test, because there should be 60 tests, but there's no reason you wouldn't have gotten the most recent code. Just for some reason, I'm having that like Gandalf GIF moment of like, I haven't this place. Why is it 59? It should be.
Yeah.
When I run, maybe it's possible I haven't pushed my most recent.
Yeah, but bring up share your screen and then bring up yours, and we can just as equally look at it from your side.
Yeah, totally. Look. All right. So I was just in terminal. I ran it, got the 60 tests. So I don't know where that discrepancy is coming from. But here's GitHub desktop. I had never used a Git GUI before, and it's really, really cool. Let's see. Is any of this relevant? Yeah, I've got this. Okay. Yeah, so that needs to be finished. And it's not really in a place where it's a great idea to commit it at the moment.
Okay, should we start with you driving, and you want to pick up where you left off and tell me what you're doing, and let's start there.
So this test. Basically, this is what is supposed to be a failing test, and we can make it fail pretty soon. But the idea is, feature-wise, working on this event feature, right? There's an open question which is not fully solved. Do you want to jump in?
I was gonna like say, like, my memory from last time is that we've currently got the system working. You can move around in the environment and see the different things that are in the environment. For the kind of game to take place, there are some sort of scripted events that need to happen at certain times. Let's say after the person has like done 5 moves, we just need something to happen, and so we need a way of that to be triggered and specify when we want it to happen and so on. And that's kind of the next game feature that we're working on, right?
Yes. So of that feature, the triggering sub module, right, or the sub piece, that is a problem which I haven't solved in my mind yet. But for this first one, Sam, the trigger is super easy because we just call it when we initialize the game.
Right.
So right here, what I'm doing right now, and this is passing, but it's also not a valuable test because it's not testing what I want it to test yet. But I was just trying to get familiar with the capture IO stuff. So yeah, as you can see, we capture the output of the first event into this event variable. We go ahead and assert that the length of the event.text is greater than 500, which is just you know, I want to make sure that it looks something like the shape. It's like 550 characters or something in that. And
Yeah. It's like that. It's not nothing. Yeah, is what you want.
Yeah, it's not nothing. Yeah. And so the next thing, this assert capture IO, right? We just want to make sure that when we call io.puts on this event.text, that we get the same thing as our event.text plus a new line, which is what io.puts does when it puts to the standard out.
Right.
So right now, as you saw a moment ago, all 60 tests, including this most recent one, I think, are pass. So we need to make this fail, because the behavior we want is for when we start the game, go ahead and call up this first event, which is just a description of the game, essentially. So that's the behavior we want. We don't have that behavior right now. The test that is meant to test that behavior is passing, so we need to make it fail.
Right. And at the moment there, in that test there, it seems to me that that it's kind of, we're stepping through, like we're getting a first event, we're checking that the first event has some text, and we're checking that if we printed that out to the command line that we would be able to read it, is what we're doing at the moment, right?
Yes, exactly.
And there's some syntax here that there's for this test. I noticed that we've got, like, the test we're kind of specifying a, events, like a one place map there with events mapping to events. And is that syntax is unfamiliar to me, in that, like, I guess.
Oh, this is really cool. Then you're going to love this. But finish your thought.
Oh well, no, that's just, I'm kind of like, this looks like we're getting set up to pass something into the test itself.
We are passing something in here, because if we're not, then, like, we should get a cannot find variable blah 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 expanding function open paren, close paren, blah blah blah, and then we get failure here, and we're not passing. So we are passing something in, and that something is coming from right up here. So like every other testing framework ever, we've got a setup for individual tests method, and then we've got a setup all, which is setup that we do once for all the tests, and then we just have that stuff in memory for all of our tests. We don't do it on every test run. And so what we're doing is we're capturing game. We don't actually use game anywhere in here yet, but anyway, we capture initialize game, so that's going to kick back our status, our player struct, our world. And then within the world, we're matching locations to locations, objects to objects, events to events, and then it's that events which is getting passed down here.
So that we've basically we've done we've taken the game and we've kind of basically decomposed it into a series of different effectively variable references. I mean, they're keys in a map, and that we can then use those in the different tests by referring to them by name.
Whoops. Are you still there?
Yeah, I'm still here. Yeah, I can hear you. Are you okay? Can you hear me? Yeah, I'm still getting your stream. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can now. We just lost you for a second. If that happens one or two more times, usually if I go and unplug the router, plug it back in, it'll often
Sure.
resolve.
Indeed.
But the last thing I heard you say was yeah, we're matching on this thing. We're decomposing the world, locations, objects, events. Yeah, that's exactly what we're doing.
Right.
And I think this is just super cool that you can pattern match on key value pairs. I just like it. There's so many things in Elixir that I just am tickled pink by when I'm like, hey, if this works, I'm going to marry this language. All I'm going to work in. And then often it'll work. And I'll be like, okay, I'm going to have to marry this language.
Indeed. But so if you go down there, so then the interesting thing there is that do we, in fact, on line 48, do we need to specify this new map? Can we not just refer to the events and receive it from the context? Or is that little map there necessary for us to refer to the events variable that's up in the setup all?
So in other words, if we get rid of this, will setup all just provide that to us as a context?
Right.
It
Interesting.
Yeah.
So it won't. Okay.
Won't.
So we kind of have to effectively declare in the test which of the elements that were defined in the setup we're going to be referring to.
Yeah, which I have mixed feelings about, but you know, the part of me which loves this making everything explicit is right there. If you look at, it likes that piece. Yeah. Cool. Yeah. Anything else?
I mean,
Yeah.
I noticed on line 49 that you're using the pipe when I guess we could be just passing events to list first.
We absolutely could, and maybe that would be better. I just this is just something. Maybe it's laziness because I work in OO all day, and I'm like, this is sort of like calling events dot first.
Yeah. I hear you.
It is at least more like calling events dot first than it is like calling this dot first. Open paren events.
Right.
So I don't know.
But don't change it. I was just you know, one of the things that I noticed there. Yeah, I think we should get onto like you say, like now we want the thing to do its, you know, the interesting thing here is what you were describing before about, you know, you're sort of conceiving there, it seems, of an event that happens at the beginning of the game, which is like the initial like loading screen, right? And
yeah.
So that initial loading screen stuff at the moment is not being printed out. I guess that my memory serves. So right, yeah. So I guess you're going for the simple thing. Let's have a startup event which just causes that event to trigger, and that information will come out. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So the tricky thing is we need to return this here. It's not tricky. It's just a snag. My mind sort of caught this now, but like. We need to return this. It would make the most sense to have io.puts here because, you know, we need this to return a meaningful thing. Everything subsequent to this depends on this getting kicked back. But at the same time, for this io.puts, we need to have access to the event, which we only have access to in the current architecture right here.
Well, and it seems to, I mean, you're kind of going in there for the implementation. I guess from a test-driven point of view, is maybe we should just be ensuring that the test defines the behavior that we want to see, and then we worry about the implementation afterwards.
Right. So let's head back over to that test.
Yeah.
So we need to actually name this test properly. So it displays
initial event
on
initial welcome event or whatever.
It displays welcome text on game start.
Oh, there you go.
Does that seem sufficiently?
That seems good, actually, and I know I like that because, you know, we like, in terms of the user experience, if it's an acceptance test, they don't really care if it's an event or they're like,
yeah.
So yes, that's nice.
Totally.
But so it feels to me like 49 and 50 are, I guess they're just sort of like, they're not absolutely critical to what we're doing here. I mean, what we want to do is to sort of trigger the game start thing and check what event has been, what's been displayed, right?
Let me tell you why. Yeah, no, you're right. But so let me tell you my reasoning, and then you can give me a counter example. But I wanted to put this in because if and this may be me making this lean a little bit more towards an integration test, which is maybe necessary and good, maybe unnecessary and bad. But on 51, all we're checking is that whatever event text is what gets output to the console.
Sure.
And I want to check that event text actually looks like what it should look like. And this is the shape of that data. I could pass in the entire content of that thing right now, and it would make this test brittle as hell, which could be good, right? There's something to be said for having things that break as soon as you change the implementation. So, I mean, there are cases for that, even though I'm sure some people are shaking their heads in disgust right now. But this, I wanted it to be confirming that, you know, the shape of the data that we expect is the shape of the data that's happening here, and that we don't suddenly randomly somehow have something, you know, a few characters here that are getting output and the test is still passing, because we don't check what this data is anywhere else.
Sure. You know, I understand the reasoning. Yeah. I mean, I guess the well, and there's this ongoing debate in my mind about whether, you know, one should have the tests pull in bits of real data, or should they be pulled out to like these 18 I can never pronounce it, I8LN whatever strings, and then you just check for the like which is the right one that's appearing there. But I mean, I'm not saying let's take it out there. I guess I was kind of you know, it seems like there's a number of different ways to do that, and I mean maybe that was a distraction, because it seems like the key thing is on 51, and so is the key thing that we want to do on 51 is to replace event text pipe IO puts with the kind of game start operation to check that the event text appears. That's kind of the key hookup, right?
Yes, exactly. That's exactly right. That's the step we need to do right now.
And the sort of the middle ground that I would be looking for might be that we would just check that rather than the event text is greater or less than, is check that the event text that we get out is like that it starts with welcome to or something. Do you know what I mean? Like the obviously it's undesirable to like check that the entire welcome text is the 550 characters that it is. But it might be more self-describing here if we, from that capture IO, we can take the first 10 characters and then check that it has the property that we want.
I think that's good. I would be inclined to add that assertion rather than add that assertion in lieu of
sure. That's good too.
Let's see. Again, making it lean more and more heavily towards an integration test. It's just I want to know that this looks something like what it should look like.
Sure. Yes.
And maybe, you know, if I start thinking that it should be that way for every event, then there are other considerations. Do I want to build a special little tool that kind of does that for me? Do I want to say, oh no, this is too much work and not enough value for all this stuff? Who knows? So event equals events, assert. I'm asserting that it begins with, is there a string dot begin with?
I assume so. I mean, I would think though, but rather than doing the test there on the event that we've pulled out from the world.
Oh, that does make a lot of sense.
Should we do the test on the stuff that's coming back from the, like that can that capture, can we assign that capture IO to a variable and then test things related to it?
Yeah, I don't see any reason we wouldn't be able to, and I do think that's a much better approach. See here, because that is where we want to be testing this stuff. So I don't even really need to call it captured output. So the output is this.
Yeah, and then you could do the assert.
Yeah. Oh yeah, absolutely.
Just the one that you already have.
I'm with you. So we're gonna assert string dot length output, and then we'll quickly see if this actually works or not.
Yeah.
Let's move terminal here. One failure. Initialize. Okay. Well, that's easy. Try that again. Interesting. 0. 0.
Is it saying that the output length was 0?
Saying it's the output length, right, from this assertion, string.length output is 0.
Yeah, which is, and at the moment when the game starts, it doesn't print.
Oh, that's what it's supposed to do.
Hey.
You're right. Oh my gosh. Let me just confirm that everything is sort of working as it should be. This is the setup. I don't want to be here, even though it's sort of confusing and it sort of looks a little bit like the gmylm.initialize game method. No, I just want to go in here and I want to say, you know, and see if it says 4. 5. Okay, because
New line. Yeah.
New line. Awesome. Fantastic. Well, that's really cool. Right. So we can do one of two things. We can stay here and we can probably capture this stuff in some kind of variable so that we have it available here and then go ahead and return that variable here. Or we can go back. We don't have a properly failing test yet, so maybe let's go back there. I mean, it's sort of properly failing. What do you think?
Well, I think probably what we should do is, why don't you commit that and we'll move it over here? Just because, yeah, I think
I can't see what you're talking about.
Oh, I just mean commit what you've got, and I'll pull it onto mine and replicate that.
Oh yeah, totally. That sounds good.
Yeah, just do the Pong, and yeah, I think that's it's easy to fall into a mode. The different things, like when I pair with Michael on website one, we'd often end up doing like an hour thing there. Yeah. I think when we've got this morning I was doing this tennis color again with Dimitri, and we were doing like very tight ponging of the order of kind of like a minute or 30 seconds even for some of it. It's,
that's cool.
There's all different ways to do it, but yeah, I think sometimes it's good to you know, we had kind of, obviously I was catching up with all the other stuff that you'd added and so on and so forth, and it's taken us to a point there where I think if we do a Pong now, then I think that will help us. Yeah.
I don't even remember what this change is exactly. Player.struct. I don't know what that changes. Anyway, it's not in the remote code for now. Let's see here. So added failing test for displaying welcome when gmylm.initialize game is called. And it is up in the cloud.
All right, let me see if I can grab that and get the I've got to get some aliases set up. Let's run mixed test here, and yeah, so I get I get the same failure.
I'm going back to Hangout so I can have this.
You still there? You all right? Hey, Ryder, you still there? Maybe lost you. Okay, so yeah, Ryder's just going to reboot his router, as I believe it's also called. Yeah, and I'm going to check out what's going on here. So we've got a failing test. We've got a failing test going on. We're getting this out, and then so the rule is, you know, we should do the simplest thing to get it up to parse. Maybe I just want to look here. We've got all these different things now. Ryder had the element, and was it gymlim that was the going to be the place where it was easy to add something. So, right, an initialized game. Yeah, and so I guess, yeah, there's connecting it up. So we would have something here. We've got, I guess there was some data. We've got some event data. We've got this start game event data, which is the stuff that we want to push out in order to refer to that. And we've got the situation here where I believe Ryder was telling me that kind of the world initialized world is where that data is going to be pulled in. Like, so we end up with these events. And so if we want to do that, we're kind of creating a struct here that's going to consist of these. It's not a struct, it's a tuple. It's a three-place tuple. And so we've got this. I mean, it would seem to me that one way to do this is, okay, so the initialized game is going to actually have to return that. Okay. Just a way is that we could then, if we then look at world and see how it consists of this kind of, map there. Like that. So we could then do kind of a match where we end up saying, pull the world up here and look at it. So we end up with, we don't really care about the locations. Oh no, I guess we have to have the key. Hi, Ryder. Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Hey.
All right, I'm connected.
Hey, welcome back.
You know, yeah.
Yeah. Here we go. Your dial-up is working there. Excellent.
Yep.
Yeah. Good show. There we go. And then, so I'm just like kicking some stuff around here to give me access here to pull out. So we've got the event, and in fact, what we could do is we could have event and then tail like this. I mean, that's assuming that the event is a list like that. And so then we could conceivably do io.puts event like that.
Yeah, events is a list.
Yeah.
A list of event structs.
Yeah. So
io.puts event is not going to work. It's going to be behavior is not implemented or something. Oh, interesting.
It seems to have worked. Unless I'm no, maybe I'm completely wrong. Compilation error on file gym undefined function _L.
That's interesting.
Oh, was it? It's io put, is it, rather than puts?
No. That's very unlikely to be the issue with that error message.
No, indeed. But will you?
Right. Sorry. No, it's puts. You're correct. It's that the event is, if I'm reading this correctly, going to be an event struct. So we'd be calling
okay.
an event struct.
Right. It's event. And in fact, this needs to be. I guess actually here we need to do world there, and that needs to be event.text. Woo! So now, and interestingly, as part of the test, it's also printed out the stuff that's coming out there. Which I guess that's probably a side effect from other places where we're not capturing the like. Is there a mechanism that I can easily run this one test? Can I just go in and like specify the file name?
I would love to know what that mechanism is, but I think you're on the right track.
Let's just see if we can do gymlim test like that. Yes, and then I wonder if we can even go in and let's reload that. Let's get rid of some of the other things. Gymlim test that's on line 48. I wonder if we can even do this. Probably can't do that. Let's see. No, it's ignored that. Yeah, I just wonder, can we
somehow specify the specific
Elixir test run single test. Actually, a lot of them these days you can add like a little oh no, it says here apparently you can do with the line on the test, and they're saying Oh, you cannot run a single test. You can use a tag.
Yeah, so I found something too, but you may be about to or have already stumbled upon this. I'll post it to the chat.
Yeah.
Is this what you tried to do?
I tried to do like the line number, and then it's interesting here in Stack
Well,
Overflow.
sure. You tried to do the line number, but in what context? Like it is there on.
Yeah, like this for the specific. I mean, this Stack Overflow seems to be. Some people are saying that it does work with the line number, and other is like that it's now been. And then actually, you can now. Yeah. Anyway, there seems to be some confusion in the Stack Overflow.
Yeah, totally.
Thing. But yeah, I was trying.
Go on Screen Hero, and that you can see where I'm highlighting, but.
But yeah, if you share your screen, then I will be able to.
I stopped because
you came in and out, and yes, absolutely. But yeah, the Stack Overflow sort of seems to be implying that in this X unit, if I specify the line number, I could run that specific.
Can we look at the command you typed in terminal again? Yeah. So you tried that, and this didn't behave as we expected.
No, it seems like we're still getting all 5. It's very much working like we're getting just those tests that are associated with this.
And it's saying, I don't know what that is. I'm going to ignore it in the.
Okay. Yeah, it's including tags.
Excluding it, so it is including the tag line 22, excluding the tag test.
Huh.
I have no idea what that means.
Yeah, that's interesting. X unit running individual tests. That, I mean, the thing there where it's like that it's interpreted that line as a 22 there. That's very suggestive that it's trying to do that thing, isn't it?
Yeah.
So the line can be any line number between the line where the wanted test keyword is defined until the next tests. So I think that there may be something slightly different about. So it's maybe if we want to run a particular test, we have to hit.
Yeah, but you called it on 22, and it's so. Did it say in between the line?
I think it might. I mean, I'm going to try now here with this on 49.
Yeah. Okay.
And I wonder if no. Yeah, I was reading some documentation there that seemed to suggest that we need to like hit it like in between
in the body of the test.
Yeah. I mean, other people mentioning also doing stuff with like adding a work in progress tag or this, that, and the other.
Yeah, I saw that. I've never used that in any language. I guess I'm sort of. No, I guess I could see cases where you would use that, right? If you've got a test or set of tests that are just kind of like not valuable yet, or maybe even not ready to be run yet.
Yeah. I mean, there's several things now. They have a mechanism where you can just do this. They have like I've seen this where you just like you type that, and this I really like because you don't even have to change what you're typing. You would just like. If this was the way that it worked, and it wasn't, we would we'd be able to do just mixed tests, and it would run that single thing, and there'd be none of this like fiddling around on the that I've seen that in Node.js. The Mocha has that, and the version of the new version of RSpec has some variation on that. But I'm just looking at this is someone else here is suggesting. No, that's just running a single test. It's not running a single line on the test. There was another one that was like which had a.
We're definitely down the rabbit hole. It's interesting.
We should maybe leave it alone. It's obviously one of those things that we could just burn like indefinite amount of time on. So
what is the value we wanted to get from running just the single test?
I think what I was particularly keen to confirm was.
Yes.
When running the single test is like is the capturing the IO completely preventing this thing from displaying the stuff on the command line, if you know what I mean, displaying the event data. Have I now got it?
I mean, it doesn't seem to be preventing it from displaying because we get it displayed every time we run it.
Well, we've got these 5 tests here. I guess what I'm interested in this one is like the way that we've got it set up at the moment is that we've got it so that whenever the game is initialized,
yeah,
it's going to be run. And then in our test suite here, so we're capturing the output from initializing game here, but in fact, we're doing initialize game every time. I like setup. I guess this only gets run once.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
So I'm just sort of thinking about, is it going to be like that we're getting this output here on all of the other tests because this is run each time?
No. It's run once.
Oh, setup is like this is going to be run once?
Yes.
Interesting. Okay. Right. And so we've got that's going to be run once. And so I have a feeling that,
and I mean, we can test that if we want by like incrementing a value, in that and seeing that value, and then passing that value into each thing and seeing if that value increments or not. But that seems like
I think I believe that works there. I guess what I'm interested in here is, well, and I wonder there, can we like can we then
yeah.
Can we go up here and kind of effectively say like and still do this?
I have no idea. That's very interesting.
See if has that failed for some
undefined
reason.
Function game. It's not interpreting it as an assignment. It's interpreting it as something else. I don't know what it's.
Does this need to have?
I think it just doesn't expect to see an assignment in that
taking place in this
Yeah.
Here. Should we not be able to just say like this is the function and then like this is a single line of code, right? Is there some? I mean, is the function supposed to be defined as everything that goes between the arrow and the end?
Yes.
And there's no like I mean, if I would be tempted like to do this, but you know what I mean? Like, I'd like to say, no, really do it.
It's not gonna work. Let's do it though.
I mean, that sort of turns it into a tuple or something. I don't know. No, undefined function. I mean, it's interpreting that game as a function that needs to be. Which is I find that kind of strange. I mean, maybe that's a different rabbit hole. More, I was interested in there of I wanted to just take that. I kind of want. I just wanted to briefly do this.
Totally.
And
sure.
Kind of take out the. I mean, these ones here. These tests are independent of that. I just wanted to like see what output we were getting on like for this no function clause for. Have I?
Well, I mean, that's an interesting error. Yeah.
Okay. No doc test.
I mean,
is this? Did I ask? Go on.
I don't understand the error message, but the reason we're seeing the reason for at least one of the potential errors, of which this is one of them that we would be seeing right now, is the events is commented out. We've commented out the events which we're depending on. We're passing in on 49.
Right. So interesting. I mean, I guess can we, just for the purpose of the test here, like actually the test that we're doing here is not involving that event. So
the
we
test
could
52.
Yeah. Like we could just do
that's true. Actually,
do this for the moment. There we go. Okay. Yeah. So that this is, and I've now forgive me holding on to that one there, but I've now satisfied myself that if we've got the capture IO in place, we're not going to be polluting the test run through that.
Which is very desirable.
Yes. So that's nice that works. I guess this one was already commented out, was it? Or
that one's already commented out. There's this whole question of how to test the interface, which I haven't really started doing yet, but
interesting. And this one here,
that just relies on the game, so that game would need to be.
Now, this is interesting here, because I wonder if some of the difficulty that we're having here, maybe this is indicating that the way we're designing it should possibly change. This is, I think, one of the kind of core ideas from the test, designing via test-driven development, which is that when you encounter test pane, that's a sign that you're factoring. I mean, the thing that I worry about here is we're saying initialize the game, which is what this does, and it returns a game. We're kind of having this like output side effect.
Oh man, unplugging the router didn't help.
Oh, you still struggling? I was able to hear you say unplugging the router didn't help.
Yeah.
I mean, I almost. Are you able to hear me now?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. So I was just saying, like, it feels to me like the initialized game is doing that setup, and kind of in some ways what we would prefer is I mean, the game loop starts. Where does the actual, like, we're kind of like initializing the game in the test for the purposes of the test. Where does the game initialize the game? Like, if it's start game, right? We do this, and then we go into the game loop.
Yeah.
Right.
Oh, okay. Actually, yeah. Are you implying it would make more sense for us to do this in the body of start game?
Possibly. I think certainly I'm thinking, at least the way this is described, initialized game should do just that. It's initializing the game, and it creates that, and it brings us back. And actually what we want to
I agree 100% actually with what you're saying.
Yeah. And I mean, almost we kind of, then we have this choice about, do we want the start game text that's being displayed to be a kind of a one-off thing that only happens for the start game, but it feels like you've already made a little bit of a design decision by placing it as one of the elements within the events.
Yes.
It feels like actually what that's leading us towards is really that should be something that happens in the event loop. Right.
Yes. So I created that husk of a function there, that event loop. I don't know. I just don't know. I don't know how to do this.
No. Sure. Yeah. I mean, I guess the key thing is that what we want to do is that, I mean, for me, even more than here, it feels like I want to, like, that startup of it. We should, like, basically before we ask the user for input, we should be able to
check for an event.
And so we've got this set up here. I mean, does this will this not be printed until after the input is rendered? Oh no, it does this. It blocks here, right?
Yeah.
It blocks there. So I guess there's then sort of a question of, like, events, their text should happen after the description of the world or before it. That seems to be the key thing.
Probably before, because an event should be able to supersede
right,
everything. I'm not sure though, but I mean, then this is the question of what this is guiding us towards addressing this question of what are the hooks we're using. Here the hook is easy, right? We hook when the game starts, and we fire the event when the game starts. Other events are like on arrival to a location, right? Other events are like when you've acquired a certain number of traps. Other events are like, you've arrived at a certain location with the rest of the game state being in a particular way. Like when you arrive at the playground for the final showdown with the bad guys, you have to have slept, right? I mean, the game doesn't necessarily need to understand that. That can be managed by the state of other things in the game, but like you have to have slept, so it has to have been the following day. In order for you to have slept, you have to have gone to the playground and assembled all the traps for the showdown the next day, right? You go to the playground to do that showdown, and there's not a ton of events in the game, but there's enough.
No. Right.
You need to assemble enough traps for you to be like, for it to fire an event and be like, okay, now I'm ready or whatever, and then you can go home and sleep, which triggers more event stuff. Your sleep event, right? Like when you arrive at the location, 1 or 2 screens west from your starting location at the beginning of the game, and then you have to take the fishing line from your secret stash because you're using the secret fishing line to finish the drawbridge on this little fortress that you've built.
Sure.
Once you take the fishing line and you go 1 location east again, that's when the bullies show up, and they won't show up unless you've gone and gotten the fishing line and arrived at that location with the fishing line in your inventory for the first. Yeah, just with the fishing.
Right.
Anyway, something like that.
But yeah, I mean, there's going to be the state of the world is going to trigger events at different time, and I guess the question to ask is, can we generalize over? Should you, in general, have the description of the world read to you before the description of the event, or should the description of the world come after the event in terms of like where it pops up on the screen?
Yeah. I still think it's going to be before. I think it's going to supersede the event.
Oh, you think the description of the world should come first? Description of the world, and so it says.
Oh, like, no. Sorry, I said that wrong in English. That was actually a more Japanese word order. The event is going to supersede the description.
Right. So you mean the event? The event will like here is some blah, 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 and then finally appended on the end we will have here's some output about the world.
That's my answer now. I don't have enough insight into what this looks like at a trench level to authoritatively say anything.
Yeah. I mean, so I'm looking at the way the code currently works, and so currently like this loop, which interestingly I see it also seems to be, it's kind of right. It's sort of, it's recalling itself. We've got this. Yeah. I mean, it's a recursive thing, so we keep on looping down further and further into this, right? Each time the victory is not true, gone down further and further and further into this, which is sort of interesting. But basically, so like when we start up, it's the way it's designed now.
It's a Mobius strip, right? It's not turtles all the way down because of how the stack works in Elixir and lets us do that.
Cool. I think when I was looking at it before, I was sort of seeing this do, and I was just thinking like while do, and I was thinking that this was the loop, but I was just noticing to myself that the function is calling itself. Not that that's particularly important. More, I think, for our current purposes, what we've got is that when we first come into this game loop, we are basically displaying a prompt to ask for something. There's sort of and it's then as a result of them doing their action that they then go ahead and see some consequence, some change in the world.
Yes.
It almost seems to me that perhaps this needs to change, because there's kind of like when you first start, okay, you're gonna get your welcome message. Don't you want your initial description of your environment that you are in come next?
Yes, you're correct.
So we kind of, it feels to me, I mean, I guess if I just take this, like what the order of things that should be happening is that like, one, we should have display event, if any.
Yeah.
And then we should 2 display world. And then 3, we should then display prompt, right?
Yeah.
Like so. And so then we kind of like take the user inputs and we move on, and we can check, is the world in a state such that there is an event?
Yeah.
If not, no event needed. And then so we either do that or not. Either which way, we always then go on and display the world. We can it's I mean, it's kind of
well, that seems good to me.
Yeah, I mean, what we've got I guess at the moment, like, can we render outputs not having processed a command?
Yes, yes. No, we absolutely can. And there's this weird I know we absolutely can, and we probably should, because there's this weird entanglement going on where like render output should be just concerned with rendering output. Actually, render output also takes in the state of the game and kicks back the state of the game.
Right.
And that's how on line 35 we're getting the new player and the new world state.
Right. So we could be like if I've just pop this in here, what we could be doing like is this, and just we could be taking in the world here, right? That would be this, and it would kind of
yeah.
I'm just sort of pseudocoding here.
Like, no.
So
I agree with what you're doing. I was new to this new way of thinking about state, and so I was still on this kick where like, well, for safety, because I don't understand how this works, Sam, everything should take in the state of the world and kick back the state of the world. But in the context of the game loop, you always have the state of the world there. So you don't need to be returning it from a function inside that.
No, we just need to be passing on the new world into the next run of the game loop, don't we?
Yeah.
And then I mean, render output at the moment works with a state of the world.
It does, and it doesn't even need to exist, right? I mean, if we, well, I don't know, maybe because if it can understand what it needs to output from the thing, so we don't have to always say io.puts, thingy dot whatever.
Yeah, I mean, so we could almost have. So I'm just thinking like I'm just passing in the world like generally there is that we could have, this render event can kind of go on and it can do the state checking. Yeah, like it has access to the events, it has access to the locations. The way is and it can, the first check is like, do we need to display it's like, has the game just started? Yes, display the welcoming events. And then okay, right. So now let's display the location that the user starts in. And now let's ask for the input. And then so now here, like we still want to do this, right? Which is now, so then it's kind of like 4 is like, handle user input.
Yeah.
Which would this would do, right? This gives us our new state of the world. And then we can now say, okay, so now begin again or loop. Which or recurse, so I don't know.
However we want to put it,
like this. So maybe this structure would kind of might work for us.
Yeah, I agree. All right, so
with go on.
No, we display the event, if any, then we display the world, then we display the prompt, get input, we handle that input, and we loop with the new state of the world.
And even could it, if this is the right structure, could that just go in here?
Maybe. Yes.
But sorry, that I shouldn't have even mentioned that. That's kind of a silly because what's happened here. I mean, I think it's our attempt at testing has raised a design issue, and we've had a little. This is like a little whiteboard sketch of. If we want to support the kinds of things we want to do in future. Of course, if I now change that all over now, potentially huge numbers of other tests will break.
Probably not, because we've got virtually no testing of the interface right now.
Okay.
No testing of the game
feature rather than a bug. Yes.
Yeah. It's just I was having trouble understanding how to test the interface in the game loop.
Yes. But so what we could do there, and I wonder if this might lead us towards a simple version. I don't know. Ooh. Well, what I'll do, I'll just comment that out.
Yeah.
Just for the moment, and we've got our new version there with extra spaces in it. And I'm just gonna. So this is them. If we go back to the initialize world, this could go back to the form that it was in before, like this. And then we could have like a, if I just sort of take that chunk there, we could have it like as a sort of ridiculous way of initially just having it. If we go to the interface, let's just save that. So I think it may break in all sorts of other ways, but if we then go to the interface, and we could have like kind of a default way of rendering events, but like let's say that it's always this, you know, the simple way to make this one test that we have pass is to just like always print out the welcome thing, which obviously we're going to change later. But
right.
Yeah. And so we've got render event, and so then it can like basically IO puts, and we want to put we want to have the event text, so we've got access to the world, so we can actually do we can do this. I have sensibly moved that over from elsewhere like that.
Ruh-roh.
Oh, so yeah, so this will allow us to print the first event text there, and I mean, we can end up. Then there's a question about testing the game loop, because it ends up getting stuck on wrapped in around there. Arguably, I don't know. I'm just going to try and make this slightly simpler. Is here now, rather than that initializing game, we could just be checking that render event world, which then, I mean, this becomes an integration test, which is not necessarily ideal, and we would need to get, oh, we've lost. Lost again.
Yep,
okay,
I'm back.
There you go. So I'm just kind of saying, I'm trying to get us back out of the rabbit hole we're getting ourselves into.
I'm
so
good with that. Like I said, Dan, as long as we spend at least 15 minutes actually coding, it's good, and I think we've done that.
Yeah, good stuff. And this game object here, that's not the world. It's like a triple that consists of, we've kind of pulled out the world there, and I've kind of set it up here so that this would like to have access to the world. So I guess if I wanted to have access to that there, let's see, because you've done it like here with access to the game, and if I do that,
I mean, we can just save to world instead of game. The only thing that game, well, no, that's not true. I was going to say the only thing the game gives us that we don't have there is the status code.
Yeah.
It also gives us the player object.
Can I do? Would I do? No, maybe I wouldn't do that. Well, is this what I would do in order to have access to the world thing here? Is that?
I have no idea. It looks cool. Let's try it.
I have a feeling that's gonna no, I mean, I think this is expecting us to have one of the probably the way to do it here, following the way it's been set up, is to have this, and then the way to do it and to have access to that variable there is to have it set so that we can, like here, if we just take that out and okay, let's have the world. Will that? No, I guess I've got to. No, it's gonna be the other way around, but it'll be like that when it, and then like that, and then this will come afterwards, like this. It feels different doing Elixir.
Yes. Yeah.
So we're going to deconstruct the game. Then we're going to get the world with all of its pieces out, and then there's that other stuff that the setup all is going to do for whatever. I don't understand.
Yeah, that should work.
Yeah, and then okay, here
unexpected token end at 40 on interface.
They say so. Probably the changes that I made in interface are like there's some like so go over here. There's a color weirdness. There's a missing a do.
Oh, there we go. Yeah.
We can't imagine what other programming languages I've been working on today. There we go. And so now we have. Now, where is this? This is generated at 49. No function clause matching in that thing there. On line 49 here. Oh,
yeah, because wait.
So this test is no function clause matching. Is that? Oh, does this function have to be like a? Is it not allowed to take a variable?
Interface.render event. I don't know. You wrote that.
Absolutely.
Pass the buck. Pass the buck.
That's what I'm telling it to do. Yeah. Well, it's interesting because that was I was sort of assuming that in this function, I could write just a line of Elixir, an arbitrary line of Elixir stuff. I was getting into trouble when I was trying to do that and like doing a matching.
Yeah.
It certainly seems happy when we did it with. Oh, I wonder if do we not have access to I think no function calls matching. Is it that we don't have access to interface in here? Do we need to alias interface?
Let's alias interface to see if we do. Also, I feel like it would be giving us a function undefined, a variable undefined expanding to function error if that were the case.
Yeah. I mean, it's saying that test initialize game /0.
Yeah.
I mean, this is just our text here. It's on line 51 there.
Yeah, I mean, all it is it's the text and it's the world
right
text, right?
It's getting the this here and this here.
Do we still have a world for?
Yeah, I mean, we have we're doing the setup all.
We're not passing the world at the end of the setup all. We're not returning.
Oh, okay. Okay. Right. I had just assumed that by it being present in these 3 lines that it was all right.
Which would be very logical. I was a little kind of
okay.
Saw that this.
That's interesting. That is an interesting design choice there. Okay.
Now we get a failure.
Now, and we're getting a lot of the world out here as well. And then now the alias.
Yeah, cool.
Okay.
Dead on, just one step ahead of us.
No,
we need the alias gmylm.interface.
Do we? All right. It's almost as if you've been programming on this project before. Here we go. Oh, banging at the hammer and the thing now. No function clause.
Interesting.
Render event.
Well, what does render event expect?
So render event, we've got like a world and the interface here.
There we go. So it's expecting a status and then these other. Yeah. So it's expecting a 3-element tuple.
So can I just do that?
And we're passing it as struct. So struct and 3-element tuple not the same.
I mean, yeah, right. But so we can just and actually we just want to pass it the thing, and we don't need to decompose it there, right?
Hey.
Ooh. Now, and of course we can do this, can't we? We can take this into here.
Yes, we can. Oh, Elixir is beautiful. It is so beautiful.
Yeah. Now, and then we can see. I mean, I'm not going to fix any. Oh, no, actually, it all works. Oh well. Of course, the interesting thing now is if we now do this, and so it's Jim, Lim, and start game.
It's gonna yell at you. It's gonna yell at you.
Oh. But how do we start again?
No, you need to get rid of the first Y. You had 2 Ys in that Jim.
The first Y. Oh, it's gum.
It's right? Give me. Hey, no, actually, those are backwards.
Give me your
GMYLM. Give me your lunch money.
Give me your lunch money. Right, I did it. Okay, here we go. And there's going to be some. There we go here. Render output. So I think what I did there.
Yeah.
That is that the world. But render event world interface x24 no. Render output. Okay, output is expecting more. It's expecting like this, right? It's expecting the player and the status.
Yeah. Output. The 2 definitions for output, right? They both take a tuple. I want to say one of them expects a 3-element tuple and one of them expects a 4-element tuple.
Right. And what would be the normal status? What's the reasonable value? Is it
the normal status is going to be okay. It's going to be an atom.
Simple. Okay, so
you can't tell what programming language I work in at work either.
But so there. I should have done recompile, shouldn't I? Oh, silly. Give me your lunch money. Start game. Aha! Aha!
Okay.
All right. So
I don't understand why it's eating up all my new line, like all my spaces, but it'll work.
That's. I think we've done the data loop there. Yes. Git status. So we're there. We're on master. Do you want me to just push that back into master? Do you want to put on a branch?
Sure. Yeah, I got no objections to that. Everything's passing.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean that everything works, as we saw last week. The lack of interface tests means we can definitely break things without knowing them. But yeah, this looks good to me.
Restructured.
And I just need to get on those interface tests. And probably the simplest way, Sam, for me to do those is just to say, okay, that's fine. They're all integration tests. They test the same thing as the unit tests underneath them.
Well, I mean, the interesting question to me now, if I was moving forward, and I've got to go, would be to look at. See, we're now testing the display of the event there. But what I would be interested to do, not that it has to be the way that one would do to make, but I would just be interested, having done it recently in Ruby.
If you gotta go, you can go too. I mean, I'm happy to hear your thoughts anytime.
Yeah. Well, I'll just hopefully it's just short one. I'll finish. But it's just in here that what we want to do ideally is, rather than just, so this becomes, like kind of a unit test really on that particular method. But what we would like to call now is, we'd like to call the game loop, and we would like to check that the acceptance test would be to check that we get this triple output.
Oh no! No! Oh, good. I'm back.
Oh no! Oh, here we go. So yeah, I was to say I think the acceptance test, if we wanted to create one rather than what this is, which is kind of a unit test of just running an event, is we want to create a test like of basically that we started the game and that it got to here.
Yeah. Basically
that it got the event and the output and the thing. Anyway, there we go. Yeah, I'm gonna need to run because I've got a meeting on the other side of town. Let me do that. But that was, I think we had some fun there.
Yeah,
there's some progress.
Happy day to you. Thank you much. This was a lot of fun and very productive.
Good stuff. Well, other things, I'll see you next week for the mob. If not slacking.
If not sooner, 100%.
All right. Good stuff, Ryder. Bye for now. Take care.